All right, welcome to Discover Your Inner Guru Week 1 of 6. I'm super excited. My name is Kara Brandt with Beautiful Life Mentoring, and I'm so grateful to all of you for joining us for this first week and for this program. I anticipate that some amazing things are going to happen. I'm going to give you for those of you who are brand new to Guru, I did a beta test in last fall, and I learned a lot about what not to do, actually, which was a really great learning experience for me. And so what you guys are experiencing here is going to be very different than that original beta test. And so I'm kind of considering this phase 2 of beta test. And I would love and welcome all feedback of any kind, because I want to make this amazing. And I'm just really passionate about the purpose of this program. So that last beta test was 12 weeks, and I've narrowed it down to 6 weeks, and I've basically broken that beta test into 3 different programs. You guys are going to get 2 of the 3 programs in these 6 weeks. So before we begin, I'd love to do just a little housekeeping. It's 6 weeks long. Oops, we've got someone calling in here. Let me just, someone who is on the program. So there we go. Okay. All right, so we'll be doing on every Monday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, we'll be doing a 60-minute webinar, which will be all the content pieces. And then every Thursday at 10 to 10:30, we'll be doing a Q&A. So all I'm asking is that if you guys, as you're going through the exercises and the homework throughout the week, write down any questions you have and just send me an email or a text or a Facebook message. And that way I can compile all the questions, and the questions that I'll be addressing in that Q&A will only be those that have been sent to me beforehand, because that way I can kind of organize my thoughts and make sure that I'm really giving you guys quality answers. And it might be that several of you have the same exact question, and I can kind of lump you all into one answer, and that way I can get more accomplished, if that makes sense. Your Zoom links are found in the Guru course. So just log into that course, and the link for Thursday is already listed in the welcome page. And those links will be exactly the same for every, there we go. We got to admit a few people. Those links will be exactly the same for every week. Okay. Welcome everyone that's just joined us. If you'll go ahead and mute yourself, that would be great. Just doing a little housekeeping here to begin with. Just letting you know that we've got 10 a.m. Monday standard time, and then a Q&A questions that you have that are coming up for you throughout the week as you're implementing before the Zoom call on Thursday. That way I can be more effective and efficient answering those questions. I will also be putting in a simple accountability system in place. That was one of the biggest feedback that I got last time, was that people wanted more accountability. They wanted more support implementing. So not only have we simplified everything down to really what I think is most important to get out of this program, but we're going to have a little bit more support with that midweek webinar or Q&A Zoom call, and an accountability partner. So we've got a few husband and wife teams on here, so it's going to just make sense, unless you guys don't want each other for a partner, for you guys to, I know all of you pretty well, and you guys work pretty good as a team, so I'm probably going to put the husband and wife together as a team, and then I'll partner the rest of you up with someone else on here. Okay, so with this accountability system, it's super simple. By the end of this call, you will have, you will know who your partner is. I will make sure that you, if they are not joining us for the live, that you'll get their information so you guys can in contact with each other. So I'm just asking that you get in touch with your accountability accountability partner at least once a week, just to check in. And so when you contact your accountability partner, it's more like you're checking in with them. How are you doing? I'm here to support you. And hopefully they'll reciprocate. If not, let me know if you're not getting the support that you need, and I will make arrangements, okay? And so you can personalize this accountability to your needs. So my personality is someone that doesn't really love having an accountability partner. I don't necessarily like having someone check in. I'm really self-motivated, and I'm a lot harder on myself than anyone else. And so I have tended to shy away from accountability, but I'm shifting my perspective, and I know a lot of people love it. And so if you're like me, then just cater it to what works for you. Just communicate with your accountability partner what your needs are. Say, this is how you can best support me. So in that first contact with your partner and connection with them, get clear on that. Say, all right, this is what I need to be supported best. Would you be willing to do that? Okay. So get clear on that with your partner. Okay, so thank you all for being on time. I appreciate your patience with my handling all the comments and letting people in while I'm talking. Sherry, you had a question. Did you want to go ahead and unmute yourself?
I just wanted to remind you guys to mute yourself. It looks like Diana needs to be muted because we're getting some weird feedback from you.
Okay, let me.
Thank you. Yeah, just go ahead and mute yourself when you're not. You can raise your hand and hopefully I'll see it. Or write a message in the chat box. I will pause periodically to make sure I'm not missing any of those questions. Okay, here's Jenny coming on.
Diana, there's a like a menu. Oh, you got it. Sorry.
You got it. Yeah. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move forward from the housekeeping. One more thing, just if you get behind, just keep coming. If you can attend the lives, keep coming to the lives, even if you feel like you haven't done the homework, and have those conversations with your accountability partner, and maybe have a brainstorm with them of what do I need to shift, or what do I need to do to get some of those things in, because this is week by week. I was a lot more lax in the beta test about, yeah, just watch it whenever you want, because I'm really big on personalizing it to you. But then that was kind of too relaxed. And so I'm going to invite you to actually stay on top of the homework every week. Do your best to at least do something towards the homework each week, so that I feel like there's something psychological that happens when you get behind, and it kind of like we get overwhelmed and it just becomes a slippery slope. So as long as you're doing something towards what we're doing, you'll be in good shape. So for me, the intention of Guru was really about creating a journey for individuals to develop emotional intelligence, at least like a baseline foundational level of emotional intelligence. And it's also designed to be a self-discovery and awakening, and to create more awareness about what your thoughts and your beliefs and how your actions are all kind of intertwined with each other, and maybe how your health is connected to your emotional state. And ultimately, it's about claiming your personal power. And I've seen so much going on in personal development that is so good, and then there's always kind of the yin and yang in every situation. And some of the things that I've observed that I want to create a solution for are those individuals who really depend upon the guru to give them the answers, who really depend upon outside sources to give them permission to show up in their life. And I really want to help empower people and develop just the practical tools that are needed every day to, okay, how do I handle my emotions in this situation? What do I do with this trigger when and how can I shift these patterns of behavior that are connected to these triggers in a way that I can actually make some different choices in my life. I can actually create some different results. And I just really believe that every individual has the ability to get their own answers. And, I'm definitely very Christ-centered in the work that I do. And so for me, I'm always drawing upon the divine and Jesus Christ for my power and my strength. And other people might draw on unconditional love or the universe or whatever that is, but there is a greater power, and there's a part of you, which I call your highest best self, or your divine self rather, is always connected to that source. And so I believe that if you can learn how to regularly connect and recognize what you're hearing, which is just this idea of connecting to inspired thought. In some faiths, they call it personal revelation, and actually gain the confidence and the faith to act on that inspiration with faith. I mean, just imagine how different your life would be if you could develop just this simple tool of connecting to inspiration and learning how to deal with your emotions. And so that's the main purpose of Guru. And I just believe in people, and I think that no matter how traumatized someone is, no matter what background someone comes from, the brain can change, the heart can change. And if I can have any part of that, I'm just tickled pink. So all right, so we're going to I'd like you to just take a moment and close your eyes and take a deep breath. And I'm going to ask you just a few questions that I'd like you to just ponder for a moment. First of all, connect with what are the things in your life that you feel are your biggest blocks. Okay. And just trust the first thing that comes to mind. Try to connect with where you feel it in your body. Where is that stressor or that block sitting in your body? That might be a strange question to ask someone who's never really considered that before, but just play with me for a minute. Just ask, okay, where is it in my body? Where do I feel the heaviness? Where do I feel the stress? Where do I feel this block? And then I invite you to just really sit with it. Sit with where that is, focus on that energy, and just breathe into it. And just make a conscious effort to relax your whole body into that block, that stress, or whatever it is that you feel is holding you back. And as you're connecting with this block or this thing that you feel is holding you back, how different would your life be if you were confident in hearing inspired thought? If you knew how to discern and recognize the voice of truth within you and have the confidence to act on that inspiration, would that block still be there? Or would you feel more empowered to do something about it, maybe? Because some of these blocks are big and they could create a lot of hopelessness and overwhelm, which can debilitate someone from any kind of action. How different would your life be? How different would your life be if you knew how to access a space of peace and clarity regardless of your circumstances? Regardless of how triggered you might be from your inner child stuff. How different would your life be if when you got triggered, because it happens, we all have stuff within us that we get triggered because we're human, that you had the tools and the ability to work it through in your mind before you acted. That you would no longer be a slave to the reactiveness that comes with trigger, the reactive action, that comes with some of these deep triggers that we have. All I can think about is like my kids, you know, and how different our life is because I'm a different mom and how I talk to them. I mean, every single day I was in a space of trigger and they would do something and it wasn't their fault, but I would just go AWOL on them. And that's such a thing of the past in our family, which is such a beautiful thing. But man, I can tell you for my life, there's a lot of peace in our home that wasn't there before. And a lot of an ability to really connect with my kids on a whole new level. So go ahead and take some time to write down some of your impressions. I'm just going to give you 1 minute to go ahead and write those impressions down, anything that kind of stuck out to you, and we'll go move ahead.
Yours.
Okay. All right. Are we ready? Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if we're ready. Awesome. Okay. So originally my idea was that you would all be able to do the reboot and reset, which is the mini course that I extracted from or created from the original beta test. But not most of you weren't able to do that beforehand, which is great because I feel like it would be so much more effective if we all did this together. So we're actually going to do the reboot and reset for success for week 1. And I know that I said that the 6 weeks is going to be more baby steps, but this first week is going to be a little bit more than baby steps because the whole purpose of this is to reboot and reset your system. And we want to do that on a mind, body, spirit level, okay? Because we're all those pieces are intertwined. We just reboot the mind and we're not doing things to help the body shift with the mind and with the heart, then you're not going to get off on the right foot as much, okay? So this first week, the first step we're going to focus on with this reboot and reset is we're going to clear the clutter. And I mean, just imagine going into your kitchen, you have this great idea for dinner, you got a new recipe or whatever it is, and it's time for dinner, and you go into your kitchen and you're excited to cook. For me, it would be like a rare thing that I'm super excited to cook. And my dishes are piled up in the sink. This happens often in my house, just FYI. Tons of dishes in the sink. Nothing has been cleared from the last meal. And so the counters are cluttered and they're dirty. And I mean, how would you feel in that situation when you're standing there? You're super excited to make something new and exciting and maybe cook something healthy for your family. And what do? All the dishes are dirty. You don't have anything to work with. You don't have a clean counter space to create on. And so it's the same with our mind and with our hearts. If we can't clear some baseline level of clutter, then we're not going to be able to be clear enough to move forward. And so what we're doing right now is just to create a clean slate for your mind and your heart. Okay. All right. So I'm going to try the screen share option here in just a sec because I'm learning Zoom still and I'm doing great so far, but just bear with me if something goes awry here. Okay, so if you've already started on the reboot and reset, that's okay. So just, I challenge you to go deeper and really hone in on more specifics this time, okay? Because honestly, doing this reboot and reset, I would do often. You know, anytime you're starting to feel like things aren't flowing in your life, do this reboot and reset, which you can access on my site. And you all have the coupon code is Team Guru, so you can get it for free that way and just access it. So if anytime you want to go through and do it, it's there. Okay, let's just go ahead and get right to it. I'm going to walk you through my favorite way of clearing the clutter, and it's just really simple. And it's, you know, those of you who've worked with me in the past know that I'm very much a principle-based teacher. So everything that I'm teaching is all centered around principles of truth that we can have as a foundation. So then that way you can kind of practically apply what you're learning to your unique situation, as long as you understand that principle. Oh my goodness, I almost pushed the end button. That would not have been good. Okay. There we go. Okay, can you all see that? Will you thumbs up for me? Can you see that okay? Awesome. Okay, so if you were to go in, I'm going to show you actually, you all know how to log in, I'm hoping by now, and you just click on the reboot and reset, and we're going to this first module here on the right. So I'm going to click on view module, and you can watch my cute little video if you want later, but we're not going to go through that now. Okay.
Kara, we still need Jenny to mute.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. All right, if you guys will go ahead and find, if you're not comfortable, kind of settle in, and we're going to kind of go into a space of meditation here together. Get your paper and pen out. Those of you that have taken my Reiki classes have already done this on some level, which is okay, because you can never do this one too much. Okay, I'm going to give you just a second to settle in and get your paper. And when you've got your pen and paper, go ahead and take a few moments to connect to your breath and be still. And I'm having this as a visual just so that you guys know how to access it and you can follow along visually. So go ahead and take a few moments to connect with your breath and be still. As you breathe in, I find the best way to really connect to the breath and relax my body is to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as I'm breathing in through the nose, I'm literally imagining that I'm receiving the vibrational frequency of unconditional love, or maybe the pure love of Christ, if that honors you too, or just visualizing the light coming in through the top of your head, which is your crown, and picture that light going into your whole body. So I'm breathing in, and I'm just physically relaxing my body into that breath. And then as I exhale, I'm going to take that release even deeper. So just take a few breaths, relaxing into the breath with the inhalation, and then exhaling and relaxing even deeper. This is just a really simple breath meditation that I'm teaching you. That you can do anytime you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed, to just sit and connect to the breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Picture that light, receiving that love. Maybe you want to receive forgiveness or peace or whatever it is. And then consciously releasing your body into the inhalation and the exhalation. All right, and now we will begin. Number one, I'm going to give you 1 minute to write everything that comes to your mind. Now make sure, don't overthink it. Just focus on what comes first, okay? First thing is, I'd like you to write down all the things that evoke anger from within you. The things that you feel angry about, the people that evoke anger from you, maybe the situations or whatever it might be, circumstances. Just write like your life depended on it, okay? Super fast. And you have 1 minute. Stop. Number 2, list all the things that you worry about. The people you worry about, the stressors, the situations, the circumstances, whatever it might be. Ready, go. 1 minute. And stop. Number 3, list all of your challenges, your trials, your hurts, any beliefs that you think hold you back from seeing the good or being grateful. All the challenges, trials, hurts, beliefs, people that you think are holding you back from really seeing the good and being grateful. Ready, go. 1 minute. And stop. All right, number 4, list all work activities that you resent, procrastinate, despise, irritate you, whatever it is that you put off, okay? Anything you consider, not just your job where you make money. Think about household chores, maybe the really menial, tedious stuff. Ready, go. 1 minute. And stop. Number 5, last one. List any unkind words spoken or thought about yourself or others. So any words that you've spoken recently to others, or that you've heard from someone else, or that you've thought about others or heard from, or are thinking about yourself or other people. 1 minute. Ready, go. And stop. Okay. Take a breath. Hold the paper in your hands and connect with the energy found on that page. Because thoughts, words, it all has vibrational frequency, right? Just allow yourself to really connect to that energy, and then notice where you might feel all that negativity in your body. You might just go ahead and scan your list with your eyes and read what you've written, and then take note if your body gives you any kind of response when you read that list. Where do you feel those responses in your body? Does your chest start to beat really fast, your heart? Does your stomach kind of, feel like it butterflies, or that it tightens up? Do you feel heaviness or tightness in your shoulders? Do you feel maybe a shortness of breath? Do you feel maybe just an overall heaviness in your whole body? And then again, like we did with the breath, go ahead and breathe into it and relax into it, like we did in the very beginning of the webinar. So rather than going quick to let's get rid of it or release it, it's all about that observation. It's all about being present with it and loving it as it is right here, right now. Using the breath to help the physical body get the support that it needs. And when you are ready, if you can see the screen right here where I have my little arrow, we're going to repeat these words, and you can do it out loud or in your mind. I feel like it's most effective to get it out of the body and say it out loud. Since you're on mute, no one else will hear you except whoever you're sitting next to. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, holding your paper in hand or looking at it. And say the words, I forgive you, I love you, I release you. Do this until you feel a noticeable shift in your body. Some people might start to yawn. You might start to feel a difference in your breath. You might start to feel lighter. So take note of how different your body might start to feel. And that's how you can one way that you can kind of tell that a shift is happening, that energy is really legitimately, in actuality, releasing from your physical body. I forgive you. I love you. I release you. I forgive you. I love you. I release you. I'm going to give you 1 minute to finish saying that over and over again. And if you finish and you feel the shift you need, just sit with that. Sit with how that feels, how good that feels. Keep breathing. Okay. Now I'm going to invite you to destroy the evidence. Tear it up, wad it up. You might decide to burn it later, but throw it away. Be done with it. And when you're done with that, you're going to get a clean, new, fresh paper. I'm going to invite you to write down at least 1 to 3 key phrases, or affirmations rather, that will help support you moving forward. So they would be in relation to what you had written on the page. So think for a moment of the major things that were there that stood out to you the most, that caused the most physical reaction with you, and turn it around. So here's an example. You might be dealing, I'm just using this as an example. I'm laughing at this example because I've got 2 couples on here. But I might be really angry at my husband, and the belief that maybe came up, I'm angry at my husband because he never helps around the house, okay? And that might have been something that you forgave and you threw away. And so I might choose a phrase, I'm grateful for my husband because, or whatever it is. So choose something positive, an affirmation, a belief, a new belief or phrase that will support a new thought that's more productive and positive moving forward. Any questions? Okay. All righty. Good job, everybody. I would like to just take a quick moment. I'm going to look at my chats. Okay. All right, everyone's muted now, so that's good. How's everyone feeling? I'd love to get some feedback. Go ahead and unmute yourselves or raise your hand. Just like the next minute or two, I'd love to just get a few shares about how you're feeling now. And there's no right or wrong answer. You could feel like you've opened up a Pandora's box of more emotions that maybe you didn't realize were there, and so maybe you're not feeling so hot right now. That's totally normal and okay. That happens sometimes. You might feel like free as a bird, like you just have a new lease on life. What are some thoughts? I'd love to hear. Melissa? Go ahead.
I just feel so light and just like this inner glow of just peace and just acceptance for all the parts that make me who I am.
That is really powerful. Thank you for sharing that. Like, that's one of the biggest things that I really want to hone in on through this program is this concept of, can we just love things as they are? Can we just learn to just see how all the pieces fit together? And the idea that we can't, I mean, we can try to move on from hard things or false beliefs or trauma or whatever without acknowledging them first, but that usually doesn't work. Usually we need to take some time to really honor what's really there without any shame or judgment. We just need to sit with it and love on it and choose into that forgiveness and gratitude. And I will preach till the cows come home that all things come in our life to be our teacher. No matter how hard they are, no matter how unpleasant or toxic they might feel, if we can let that shame and judgment go and be willing to sit in the uncomfortable, which is not comfortable, right? But it's like those of you, men, you wouldn't understand what this feels like, but those of us that have had a baby and have experienced contractions, and it's better to relax into them and not fight them or hold, because they're more painful when we hold. And so if we can learn that skill of relaxing into the hard, your life will be so much easier, I promise. Okay, thank you. Any other thoughts before we move on? Okay, I'm moving on. All right, step 2. We've cleared the clutter. At least we've done a baseline clutter clear, which again, you can do this over and over again. I'll bring it up a little bit later in the body reboot, how you can actually use this before bedtime to help quiet your mind and get the restorative sleep that you need. So you can come back to this exercise and you can tweak it however you want. The next step in the reboot and reset is connecting to your why or your motivation. And I want to take a minute to explain the difference and create a distinction between an internal versus an external motivation. Before I do that, I just want to express that finding your motivation, but finding the right motivation from the right place, is going to make all the difference when the going gets tough. Because when things get hard, and they always do, especially when you're making big change and big transformation, always, 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 there will be opposition. So just expect that, because not only are you going to get opposition from outside sources, but you will experience a cognitive dissonance inside of you. You're trying to change your brain, and you're trying to ask your mind and your body to do things that it's not used to. It's new to, and it's so used to doing the old. And there's this saying that it floats around personal development, so I don't even know where it came from or started from, but it's this idea that when you've done something wrong long enough, it feels right. So when you try to shift into doing the right thing, it feels wrong. So and so then this what's called cognitive dissonance happens within you. Okay, so expect that. That's going to happen. So if your motivation or your why you're doing this, why are you stepping into further change, is based from an internal motivation, and I'll explain the distinction and the difference in a moment, you're going to weather the storm a lot easier. Okay, and when the opposition comes and the going gets tough. So the difference between an internal and external is pretty simple, in that an internal motivation comes from a place within yourself and in connection to truth and love. And honestly, it really needs to come from a place of love for yourself, for others, and a deep desire to be your best self. Okay. An external motivation is you're doing it because you want to get skinny for this next film shoot, or your boss has challenged you all to get healthy so you can earn a bonus. You know what I'm saying? So anything outside of you that's motivating you to change. And honestly, they last for a while, but when the going gets tough and those challenges come, the storms come start a brewing, if your motivation is not from somewhere within, from a place of love and a desire to be your best self, your motivation is going to wane, right? So with that distinction is internal motivation coming from something within ourselves, rooted in love for ourselves and others. Now I want to share, I kind of beta tested this reboot and reset mini course that I'm taking you through right now. And someone messaged me that was doing it, and she's like, I'm really having a hard time making that distinction between internal versus external. And she says, I'm noticing that all of my motivations are coming from outside of myself. And then she proceeded to explain how I realized that my motivation to help heal my mental illness was because I wanted my kids to have a better mom. And she was viewing that as an external motivation, because it was her kids are outside of her, right? And she wanted them to be happy. But think about it for a minute. It was actually an internal motivation because it was rooted in a place of love for her children, a desire to be the best mom that she can be, right? So the individuals or whatever it is you're trying to change for or whatever, really connect to that why in the space of love. Okay. And so I think that kind of surprised her to realize, oh, that is an internal motivation. I'm like, yeah, you're trying to be your best self. You're trying to be the best mom you can be because you love your children. And those are the kind of motivations that last and stand the test of time. Okay. So if you really want success, you have to take the time to really connect to your why. And I'm going to help you do that. Okay. So for this next exercise, I'm going to just take you through a really simple questionnaire. And for the purposes of time, it looks like we might go over a little bit. I hope that's okay. I'm going to invite you to just do a quick answer like I did before. So I'm going to maybe give you 30 seconds at the most to answer these questions. And then you can go back and log in and maybe go deeper on your own time if you want. Okay. So let me go ahead and that's funny. My mom's computer is here because I'm in her office. I was using her mouse and it wasn't working and I couldn't figure out. Okay, let's go to screen share here. Okay, so we're gonna go back and we're gonna go to module 2, just so that you guys all can see how I'm navigating here. Let's go to the exercise 2. Okay. So here are the questions. And go ahead and write it on a piece of paper. The first question is, how are you feeling stuck or unsatisfied with your current situation? What are your honest feelings about it? Go ahead and write it down. I'll give you 30 seconds. And again, you can go deeper with this a little bit later, but just trust the first thing that comes to mind. Okay. Stop. If you could change one thing right now in your life, what would it be? Just one. What would it be? Now, this next question, I'm going to give you a little bit more time. Write down all the current reasons why you desire change. List as many as you can think, okay? Because I'm actually going to give you about a minute and a half on this one. All the reasons you want change. I want to be healthier. I want to be a better mom. I want to do a bikini weightlifting contest. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Okay, time. Now go through each of those desires of your whys that you've written down. And now write next to the right or left to each of those and determine, is this external or is this internal? And the way to distinguish, right, is this from a motivation of love and a desire to be my best self, or is this to get approval from other people or to make a deadline or whatever? Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds. Okay, stop. And again, you can go back and go in more deeper into this exercise on your own time. Go ahead and cross off all external motivations from your list and see what's left. Raise your hand if you need a little more time. Okay, so now connect with each internal motivation that's on your list. Now, if you're in a situation where you don't have anything left on your list, just hang in there with me, okay? For now, connect with those internal motivations on your list. Say them out loud. Right here, right now. Say it out loud to yourself. I want to do this because, okay? And then ask yourself, does it evoke an emotional or physical response in my body? When I say that out loud, am I getting any kind of emotional or physical response from that why? Awesome. So now you're going to ultimately you're narrowing it down to the why that creates and causes the strongest emotional, physical, mental response within you. And that's how you can kind of identify the strongest motivation or why. Does that make sense? And then the last step is to type them out, write them out, put them where you can see them throughout your house, where you will see it over and over and over again, so that you're reminding yourself why you're creating change, why you're getting up in the morning. And again, this needs to be the why that can get you up in the morning when you feel your worst, because you're so connected to it, because it so comes from that deep place within you. Does anyone have any questions or have any shares on that exercise? Again, you can go and do it again, and it's something that I find that if I go do over and over again, it will create more clarity each time, and I might get more clear on those distinctions over time. Does anyone, let's see, I'm not seeing any questions, so are we good? Okay, awesome. All right. The next step is I'm going to actually go over it really briefly, but you're going to do this on your own time for your homework. The next step is to create your vision. Get clear on your vision. Oops, that wasn't what I meant to do. Actually, it's okay. All right. So this exercise, I mean, getting a vision, getting clear on your vision, you guys, is as simple as knowing where you're going, right? It's the basic idea of like, okay, I'm going to go travel from here to there. I'm going to get out Google Maps, or I'm going to get a map, a road map, and I'm going to map my course. And I've got this focus and a direction of where I'm going to go. I mean, how much do you accomplish if you really don't know what you want or where you're going to go? You're probably just going to stay right where you're comfortable, right? And so creating a vision and getting really clear on what you're wanting to create. And now you've got that, you've cleared the clutter, you've got that internal motivation pinned down of why you want to change. And now, okay, what do I want to create? And I find that doing this, some people try to do this before they've cleared the clutter, and it's all a jumbled mess. So now that you've cleared the clutter, you know what your why is, really get clear on what you want to create, okay? And so go through, go to the Reboot and Reset, log in, access, it's module 3, lesson 1, and there's this vision worksheet that you'll open up and download, and just take yourself through this worksheet, okay? Having a vision can be short-term, long-term, okay? You could have a long-term vision, you could have a short-term vision, you could be like, okay, this is my vision for the next day, this is my vision for the next week, this is my vision for my life. I mean, you can kind of cater it to wherever you want to go. I personally love having kind of those stair steps of vision, because a lot can change and a lot can shift. And so I go into my vision as this is a time to really get creative and create and have fun with it, right? Use my imagination. If money were no object, or if I was clearing all my triggers and all my blocks, what is possible for me? And so as you go into this vision worksheet, allow yourself to get outside of the box of what you've all known in the past was possible for you. It's really connecting to what you want in your heart of hearts, because you guys, we're not a victim to our circumstances. We are not a victim to other people's choices. Yeah, they might create roadblocks here and there, and then we get to kind of get creative and try to figure out how to get around or up and over them. But that's just really cool learning opportunities. They're not really holding you back. They're strengthening you. Yeah, they're expanding your vision and making you stronger. And so really allow yourself to go outside of that box and have fun with it, okay? So there's just a line of questions, and if you're a creative person, maybe you get colored markers out and you might draw it out and draw a picture of what it might look like. You might draw a map, what is it, a mind map, where you have what you want in the center and all the things connected to it that you think need to be in place in order for you to get there. So you kind of have your mini visions connected to your whole vision in the center, whatever that looks for you. Or you can just answer the questions on a bullet point on a piece of paper, okay? And then I invite you to share this vision with your accountability partner sometime this week. When you've completed it, share it with your accountability partner, have a discussion about it. Okay, an accountability partner, when you hear the other person sharing, really listen to what they're saying. I invite you to hold off from any kind of teaching them, but do ask a lot of questions. Tell me more about this, just so that you can help get their creative juices flowing about, and it kind of helps them get into a space of getting excited. I mean, think about the projects that you've been really excited about and you want to share it with the people that you love, and you go and share it, and every time you share it and you get excited and you verbalize it and you think about it, it makes that vision come closer into reality. You guys, how was the world created? It was created first by the word. And so the words that we speak, the more we speak them, the more we bring life to them in our minds, in our hearts, and through our words, the more likely they are to come into physical reality. Okay, so connect to your vision, and that's one of your homework pieces for this week. Whoops. And it's going to be fun. You know, honestly, I say that, but sometimes vision creation has been stressful to me because of any of those blocks or belief systems that have maybe in the past held me back from seeing what's possible. Maybe the voices in my head of certain people in my life that would have told me as a kid, we can't do that, there's not enough money, or we can't do that because that's just not possible, or, you know, those voices. So as those voices come up for you, this isn't on the worksheet, but this is just an invitation and awareness for you. Write them down. Yeah, write them down just like we did in the declutter exercise. Okay, and spend some time sitting with them, connecting to where they are in your body, breathing into them, relaxing into them, and then send them some love and forgiveness. I love you. I forgive you. I release you. Okay? It's just simple. If they don't release, then just allow them to be with you for a while, and you get to just be in a space of observation of like, oh, okay, this is interesting. This is something that isn't wanting to go away. And so as you observe it, you can take notes of what you're learning from those observations. And that's how things start to shift. It just starts with that awareness and your willingness to let it stick around in love and no judgment or shame. And just take mental note or write it down. And that's what, as the learning starts to begin and you start to make the connections, the light bulb starts to turn on in your heart and in your mind, things start to shift on their own. It doesn't need some big process necessarily to clear deep trauma or old belief patterns, right? That awareness and that willingness to love it just as it is the most powerful way for you to shift your energy, okay? All right, the last point I want to touch on, and it looks like we are out of time, but I'm okay with that as long as you guys are okay with that, and we'll just finish up here, is rebooting the body. And when you go online, you're going to find this in lesson 2 of module 3. And it's just that bonus body reboot. And I'm going to open this up so you can see it. And this is also going to be something that I'm going to have you do on your own time, but I'm going to just overview it really quickly, okay? So there are 3 basic areas that I invite you to focus on in rebooting your body, okay? And I'm going to repeat myself over and over again. Keep it simple. Simple is best. By small and simple things, great things come to pass. And so if any of this overwhelms you, spend some time loving on the overwhelm, breathing into it, observing it, and then see, how can I simplify this? Okay, I just need to keep it simple. So number 1 is rest, number 2 is hydration, number 3 is fuel. Okay, movement comes later. All right, so a lot of people are like, I've got to get to the gym and I got to exercise. Okay, well, if your rest is not in line, if you're not hydrated and you're not fueling your body, exercise isn't going to do a darn thing for you. It's kind of like 10 or 20% of the equation. And so if you already have a movement that's joyful for you and you don't feel like it's just part of your routine, by all means, keep it. But if you're trying to keep things simple, focus on these 3 areas, okay? So rest, I mean, we need to regenerate. Our body needs to restore itself in order for it to survive, right? Otherwise, eventually the systems will shut down and disease will form in the body, eventually shutting down completely. So these are just kind of the basic tips that I want to you to just kind of consider. And you can take one from these and say, this is my biggest issue with sleep. And this is my one thing I'm going to commit to shifting even just a little bit to try to get better sleep. So 7 to 8 hours of restorative sleep. Refrain from eating 1 to 2 hours before bed, because when you're eating right before bed, your body goes into digestion mode and it sends a different signal to your brain saying, oh, we're awake now, we're processing food. You want your brain to be in, oh, we're going to bed, we're going into restoration now. And so some people think that there's this rest and digest period that starts around 6 or 7 o'clock at night. So some people say that it's best to not eat after 6 or 7. I think it's up to the individual and you figuring out what that window is for you. Electronics, keep them at least 2 feet away from your body while you sleep, and try to resist the temptation to be on your electronics at least an hour before bed. So I have a super bad habit of being on my phone at night to kind of tie up loose ends or to get on Facebook or to maybe watch a little something. And I don't sleep as well on those nights. I don't get the restorative because those EMF rays just aren't good for the brain in promoting that restoration. Find your window and honor it. This is something that is hardly ever talked about, but it's something that I kind of discovered on my own. I had insomnia for years. I could not shut my brain off. I also am on the ADHD spectrum, so talk about monkey brain craziness. And going to sleep at night was really, really difficult for me for many, many years. And so I would be really restless hours on end. But once I figured out what my window was, when my body was naturally wanting to shut down and go into restoration, and I honored it, that's when I actually slept. And those other pieces were in place too, like I was not eating or I was hydrated, but finding your window where you really start to, and it might surprise you. It could be early. It could be one night, it could be 7:30 at night. For me, it's between 9 and 9:30. And I literally feel like my, if I was a wind up toy, my little winder in my back just is out of juice. And I just can feel my body's ready. But sometimes I will ignore that and I'll go do another load of laundry, or I'll, start talking to my husband and we'll start discussing things, which will rile me up. And then I'll catch my second wind. And then it's really tricky to wind down after that. So find your window and honor it. Okay. Listen to your body. Hydration. All right. We need water. Half your body weight in ounces is the recommendation. Okay. Our body is a lot of water. Try to fast from soda or pop, some people call it, and alcohol. I would even say coffee or anything caffeinated like energy drinks, things like that. I would invite you to disconnect from that for a few days. Removing soda from your diet is probably one of the biggest things you can do to change your health. I'm not going to go into details, but there are substitutes. I am all about substituting. So when I'm headed into big change, especially if it's something I'm really married to, I really love, or there's might be an addiction there, I think it's healthier for the psyche to find a replacement rather than just go cold turkey. Okay, so some of my favorite replacements for soda is kombucha or kefir water. Or I really love the San Pellegrinos, the natural mineral water, and I'll add lime to it, maybe a little honey or maple syrup or stevia to sweeten it, or maybe some fruit. There's ways to substitute. Okay. One of my biggest tips, and I think has been a huge game changer in healing my body from autoimmune disease, is supporting my liver. And one of the simplest ways that I do that is I start my day out with a quart jar of water, and to intensify the supporting the liver part, I put in 2 limes and juice 2 limes into a quart jar of water. And I don't eat any food until I've had a chance to go to the bathroom and eliminate for the day, because that just helps give my body a chance to release what it was kind of working through the system throughout the night. Okay. All right. And then fuel. Guys, it's the concept of like when you buy a new car, you're not going to go and put gravel in the gas tank. You're not going to you're going to put premium gas in your tank, because that's going to make your car last longer. You've made an investment. And I think sometimes we forget about our bodies, where we were born with it. I don't think we really think about the fact that we haven't made and we have to invest in our bodies because it was kind of just given to us freely, right? We didn't have to do anything other than be born. And so, and the body's amazing and it repairs itself so easily and is so amazing at supporting us and showing up for us in spite of how much garbage we expose it to, that I think we take it for granted. I know I did for many, many years. And so your body is your Rolls Royce. You only have one body. And it's going to wear out if you don't start to take good care of it. And so fueling your body is essential. And I believe is 80 to 90% of the picture of healing your body, of releasing unwanted pounds, and being your healthiest self. So just the bullet points: avoid processed and artificial sugars, granulated sugar, high fructose corn syrup, sucralose, etc. Just because something says it's sugar-free does not mean it's good for you. Okay, so these chemicals, any kind of like alternative sweeteners, and are just not good for you. Eat wholesome sugars, fruits, honey, pure maple syrup, coconut sugar, stevia. Those are some of my favorites. Some people think agave is healthy. My body responds to agave like high fructose corn syrup. And the studies are kind of showing that it actually goes into your bloodstream a lot faster, just like regular sugar. So I avoid agave, but maybe you have a different experience. Add more greens, plant-based foods to your diet. And my philosophy is that, like, it's not mine, but I've kind of adopted this philosophy that I want to raise the vibrational frequency of my body. And so anything that I put into my body, I want it to have that high vibrational frequency. And so anything that comes from the earth was given to us to heal us, to support us and to heal us. And so anything that comes directly from the earth that has been untainted, so your non-GMOs, your USDA certified organic, that kind of thing, the closer it is to the sun, you're literally getting the energy of the earth and the sun, right? The minerals from the soil and all of those things. So it's just the best fuel you can possibly give your body. Lower your meat intake. If you're going to eat meat, choose lean and wholesome options that don't have any of the hormones or the nitrates in them. Another support your liver tip is wait until noon to eat any high fat foods. I know it's very traditional for people to eat an egg for breakfast, and I know all bodies are different, so you might decide that this isn't a big deal for you, but for me, healing my liver has been a huge part of healing from autoimmune. And so I don't eat any high fat foods until I've gone to the bathroom and had a really good poop. I'm just going to say the word. And I've had a really good green, lean, maybe some oatmeal or quinoa, or I really, really love greens for breakfast, sauteed with garlic and olive oil and a little sea salt and pepper. Just giving your liver a chance to do its thing. Something to think about. There's books and things I can refer you to if you want to learn more about the liver. Okay, so then look for the USDA certified organic and non-GMO labels. If you want to learn more about why this is important, it's about the Roundup, the glyphosate chemical that is being sprayed on the food. It is absolutely poison. And to help you understand that, I invite you to go, I've given the link right here to watch the documentary Secret Ingredients. It's a huge eye-opener. It might be overwhelming because it's so eye-opening, but it's one of the most, you know, how sometimes documentaries are really biased and there's a lot of music to kind of evoke emotion to get people to do or to think certain ways. This one I believe is super objective, and it's just sharing the story of all these families who shifted into eating differently and eliminating the glyphosate from their food and the massive changes that came into their bodies and their lives because of it, which I find is way more interesting to like hear real stories. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna invite you to go and do the body reboot on your own. Let's go back to if you just click on lesson 2, And we're going to wrap things up here real quick here. And just go through all of these things and just write it down. Write it down on a piece of paper. What am I going to keep it simple? Choose 1 to 3 things, maybe one thing from each category or even one thing overall. I need sleep, but go ahead and take some time and sit with each of them, just like you did on connecting to your why. Okay, that's a principle and an exercise that can be applied to a lot of things where, okay, I'm trying to determine what is most important for me to do right now. So write them down on a piece of paper and connect to each one and really breathe into them and ponder them and see which one gives me the strongest physical, emotional, mental response. And that's how you know this is most important for me to do. All right. Does anyone have any questions so far about what we're talking about? Feeling pretty clear? Okay, to sum up and to recap, we've cleared the clutter. And again, this is an exercise that you can do every day if you want. I find that if I do it at nighttime, that's a really great tool that I can use to quiet my mind, to support my body to go into restoration, because my brain, just the way my brain works, it's busy, and it just helps me. I call them brain dumps, where I'm just dumping, and I have a notebook that's just for brain dumps, and I just get it all out on paper. I throw it away, or I just close it up and put it in my drawer and put it away, and it's out of my body. Okay, it's awesome. Number 2, connect to your why, your motivation, and put it up. So your homework is for connecting to your why is making sure you really take the time to distinguish between external versus internal. Find the internal motivations that give you the strongest response within your body, your mind, and your heart, and then put them up in places in your house where you will see them and be reminded of them often. And number 3, you're going to go through and create your vision and do the vision worksheet. Have fun with it, you guys, and use your accountability partner to process these things. Okay. And then number 4, reboot your body. Just choose 1 to 2 things that you're going to focus on through the week, and use the tool of, okay, I'm sitting with it. What gives me the strongest response, so that I can know and identify which one is most important for me to do. Because the thing is, your body is smart too. Your body knows. If you're talking to your body and say, okay, body, I'm thinking I need more sleep. And if your body goes, yay, and your heart leaps within your chest and you feel a physical response, your body is going to tell you if that's what you need. Or, maybe I need to drink more water, and sit with that for a minute. Trust the response that comes, the impressions that come to your mind, to your heart, and physical reactions. Those are all really great clues to know what's most important. Okay, so you've got your homework. What I'm going to do is send an email out to everybody later today, probably within the next hour, of who your accountability partner is. And I will give you their email, and if I have it, their phone number. Probably just an email. I'd rather not give your phone numbers out. I'm just going to give an email. I hope that's okay with everybody. And then you guys find a way to connect with each other throughout the week. Thursday, we're going to do our Q&A. So you have a few days here to implement, to do the homework, and to kind of sit with things and learn. And so write down your questions. If things aren't quite sitting right, or you have a question, send them to me privately, and I will answer them live on Thursday, 10 to 10:30 Mountain Standard Time. The Zoom links are on. Log into the Guru course, and there's a Zoom link for Thursdays, a Zoom link for Mondays. So make sure you get the right link for Thursday. Any questions before we close today? Thank you so much, everybody. Are we good?
Thank you.
All right, you guys, everyone have a great week. I look forward to Thursday, and make it a great one, you guys. Take care.
Please don't give my number out to my partner.
Okay. Love you, Dave.